الله الكبير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد ونستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. الله الكبير. Again, we are grateful to God for giving us this opportunity, and this is not by accident. This is by divine design that we are here. We are praising God, marvel at His signs that He gives us so many times in our lives. And yesterday there was a full moon. Just want to concentrate on that. It was called the Supermoon. The Supermoon was historic proportion because they said that this is actually the largest, the closest distance ever come to the Earth. And so I'm going to describe some stuff for you today that you probably didn't know, and about the moon, okay? And so when Ramadan comes, you have a lot of scientific stuff to fall back and instead of listening to somebody if they've seen the new moon or not. So anyway, so these are the facts about the moon. And so what happens? What is a supermoon? A supermoon is that in the elliptical orbit of the moon around the Earth is sitting in one of the two foci of this ellipse. So when the moon is on the shorter side of the ellipse, closer to the sun, closer to the Earth, that's a supermoon. And as you see in this picture, it's called perigee. And if it's on the other side, it's called a micromoon, it's called apogee, so it's smaller by about 13 to 14% than the supermoon, the full supermoon. And it's less brighter by about 27 to 30%. Okay, so this was a very bright moon, and they call it the hunter moon, or hunter's moon. And the reason is because at this time of the year, you have the supermoon, it's right before the winter time. So in the old days, the hunters, they went and hunted so they can get ready for the winter. And so they can eat during the winter time. Anyway, so a lot of facts about the moon. Okay, the moon is receding from us or getting away from us at about 3.8 centimeters a year. And that means, for those of you who are more familiar with the imperial system, it's 1.5 inch. Okay, so every year it gets farther from us by 1.5 inch. So don't worry about it. Okay, it has the moon has to have a lunar orbit of 47 days in order to become a planet, and that's going to take 50 billion years. So that's not a source of grief for us. Okay, that's more than the age of the universe, many times over. So anyway, so we are stuck with the moon, and so now that elliptical orbit, actually the elliptical orbit of the moon is much more elliptical than the elliptical orbit of the Earth around the sun. And there is a value called eccentricity. And the eccentricity of the moon orbit is about 3.5 times larger than the one of the Earth around the sun. So that means that it is highly elliptical, and that's why you see this huge difference here. And on this picture, that in the apogee when it's farthest from the sun, and from the Earth, and in the perigee when it's closer to the Earth. So how long does it take for the moon to go from one perigee to one perigee? Anybody? Okay. You probably think that is about 30 days. That's wrong. It's not. It's 27.55 days. And it's called anomalistic month. When it goes from the same phase to the same phase, then it is the lunar month that we are familiar with, is 29.5 days, or 29.53 days, that we are all familiar with. Okay? So these are all signs from God. Just think about it, how intricate this system is. There are a lot of ways that people actually do this. Okay? They look at these things and they They make calendars out of these things. And so that's exactly what God says in the Quran. He says that the sun and the moon are calculating devices. Okay? So we'll teach you calculus. You learn about these things by looking at these objects in the sky. And so we all enjoyed it, as I said a day or two ago, that we saw the full moon, and it was really bright. Okay? We have a lot of trees here in Baton Rouge, so they were sort of obscuring our view. And so we also missed the comet. We didn't see the comet, so we have to wait until another 80,000 years for that. So we don't have to worry about that either. But anyway, so this is the history of the moon. Okay, so as I said, it's the whole system that God has designed is so intricate, and it can be actually predicted when this is going to happen. And that's basically the power that God has given us. So we'll not argue if somebody's seen the new moon or not to start the fasting. Okay? And by the way, that whole thing starts at that month. The other month, nobody asks about it. Okay? Why? Because they get their paycheck on time, and nobody says, have you seen the new moon? Nobody says that. Okay? So they go there, they get paycheck. But in this case, when they have to basically fulfill an obligation to God, which is fasting, which was decreed to us and those before us. Okay? Which means that they dropped it. It was too difficult, they dropped it. But anyway, so when that comes into question, then everybody is for that one day. Just do one more day. Is it too difficult? You're going to do 29 or 30 days, just do one more day, and that's called a loan of righteousness to God. That's what you do. And that's how you fulfill your obligations to God. And then on the other hand, God will reward you for that in many ways, beyond your imagination. Just the fact that you're not sick today, that's a blessing from God. Okay? That you have something that you look forward to. As I said, today when we woke up, this year, okay, is please mute yourself. Okay, so anyway, so that was a little bit of sort of a lecture on okay, so where was I? Okay, anyway, so this was a little bit of lesson on the moon situation. As I said, it's so today when you wake up, it's basically this moon is not the same moon as your father's moon or your parents' moon. It is a different moon. It's a little bit farther from us. We can't see it. You can see that expansion. Then there is the expansion of the universe. So today when you wake up, the universe is a bigger universe. And so there's hope all the time. So never lose hope, and everything will be okay. And so look at it in that way, not the half glass empty type of mentality. Look at it in a hopeful way, because as I said, God has entrusted us with a bigger universe that our parents didn't have it. And our children are going to have a bigger universe, okay? Because of the expansion of the universe and the expansion of matter for that matter. Okay? They don't talk about it in science. They just say expansion of the universe. It's also matter, as God says in the Quran. There's more matter is there. It says, my matter is ever expanding. So it's the same way. So the amount of matter is not going to reduce. So anyway, so That's the knowledge that God gives us, and other people don't have it. Okay, so we look at it, and a lot of the stuff that I said, they're all at your fingertip. Okay, and the other thing that I wanted to mention before I finish this segment is that ellipse that I was talking about that goes around the Earth, that ellipse also precesses. That means rotates. So from perigee to perigee, it takes actually 18.6 years. So every month, that elliptical orbit of the moon around the Earth, it changes by 0.19 degrees. Okay? So remember these numbers, okay? I'll quiz you later. Okay, so it's time to finish this unit. Allahu Kabir.